I'm a big Zetsubou no Shima fan. Okay, what can I say? I know people are gonna cap on me for the Tomb and Zetsubou no Shima, but you
no, dude, I love Zet. It's my favorite.
All right. Yes, thank you. First of all, soundtrack banging. I don't think a map's has looked better than Zetsubou no Shima since Zetsubou no Shima came out.
It's so good.
maybe Deader Than Ancient Evil, but it is so good. The vines hanging over everything, things dripping off, the thunder. One of my favorite, maybe I'll call it a cue that happens in Zombies is when you're walking into the cocoon area and the thunder starts. It's at generator A, but every time, I don't know what you cross, but as soon as you approach that area, this thunder comes in and kind of lights up the cocoon area in front of you to kind of present that to you in a way. And that just stuck with me, you know what I'm saying? And I think it's things like that when you approach a new area and something happens. Like I know they have the zombies eating people now when you open doors. That's a step forward, I would say. But cool. There's other things, right, that happen too that are so subtle, but really just mix well with the atmosphere.
Yeah, it's to go back to BO3 and BO4 for a second. It's funny because in my head, like Shadows is red, DE is blue, the Giant's like blue, Zetsubou's green, Gorod's orange, and then Revelations is like blue red. And when I got into BO4 at first, I was kind of pissed because they took that away, and I actually think that standardization of lighting kind of started in BO4, but the maps were still so dense and the art direction was so rich that it grew on me over time. But I don't know why they don't have that color palette thing anymore. I don't get it.
For real. It's a bit interesting because even with an area like Liberty Falls, Shattered Vale, you know, whatever, it is somewhat easy to do. It's just the time of day thing or, you know, what is on the map or the color of the map, you know, the walls for crying out loud. But yeah, that's a thing that has always rubbed me the wrong way recently. Because I'm like, I think that really gets me excited for, you know, Zetsubou no Shima came out in the springtime when everything around me was green and it was like thundering and it just, you know, down here in Texas, the season felt like that map looked, right? I'm outside, I'm smelling the plants. I just feel Zetsubou no Shima. Same thing, you know, there was a lot of sunsets. I want to say it was around July, I think, at least when we got the trailer for Gorod, but that really kind of set the mood for me for that season.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I go about it that way, I guess, but yeah, I haven't had that much for Shattered Vale. Like that came out in the springtime. That's not, you know, I don't know. I don't know why I like to pick on Shattered Vale. I think it's my least favorite Black Ops 6 map. If not, even Cold War, I think it's worse than all the Cold Wars.
That's interesting. I think that Terminus is probably the best map in BO6 now that the dust has settled. Yeah. But I think Shattered Vale would be my second favorite because of two things. Because of the Easter egg and because of the surprise of, well, there's so much to that map. Like you start off in this garden and I thought, okay, well, here we go. Another Liberty Falls bullshit. And I'm like walking through and it kind of gets bigger and I'm like in this greenhouse or this like expansive garden with all these rocks. And then I kind of go into the mansion and I'm like, holy crap. Like there's like music playing. I'm seeing this T-Rex. I'm like looking everywhere. It's very expansive and big. And then it puts you into these tight corridors. And then you just like keep going and you're like down in the lab and then you find like secret areas. So in my opinion, they gave me like what I wanted in terms of exploration and art direction, but in mystery. But yeah, I mean, I agree with like the color palette and all that stuff. Like it's generic for sure.
I think I completely understand. I just think the biggest thing for me with Shattered Vale, even before it came out, when we knew we were going to a mansion, I'm like, first of all, why the hell are we going back to a mansion when we've already had a map there? And do we really think that we can do it better than they had before? Because if not, which I believe was the case, I don't think it was better than Dead of the Night atmospherically or gameplay or whatever.
Oh yeah,
I'm like, well, why even do that idea? Like,
yeah, no, I mean, dude, I completely agree, and even in some of the things with Shattered Vale, and then I'll tie it back to what with the theme locking that you're talking about. I thought story-wise, it was the map that felt the most Treyarch in a while. Like, it actually had a self-contained story.
I'd agree.
With Richtofen, being trapped there and Sam being devious, even though it turned into nothing really. But and then it had like the old people who had lived there in the past and were going through their paintings. And funnily enough, each painting room had its own like LUT on it. You know what I mean? And I'm like,
exactly.
I'm like,
that was
bro,
very cool.
You guys can clearly do it. Like, why aren't you doing this for the whole damn map?
Right.
But so there is.
I thought that aspect was very cool though. Like seeing the history in those rooms. Like,
and that's
really cool
this is a talking point that I'm kind of stealing from Mr. Raffle Waffles, but he talks often about like how it feels like the gameplay team and the writing team and the artistic team. I don't know how it works in game dev. Yeah. I'm assuming it's not that reductive, but he says it feels like they don't communicate with one another and they're kind of all doing their jobs and they, bring it together, but there isn't that like the devil in the details type stuff. Like what you're talking about, like a street light that you would find beautiful or, the sunset on Liberty Falls or whatever it is. He doesn't feel like that is communicated properly, but it felt like Shattered Veil was a map where they did have good communication for the most part. It's just a shame it wasn't in a better location.